Well, that New York-Chicago thing must be contagious. Look at the low-scoring game in the Western Conference semifinal series. Utah with a 44-41 lead over the Seattle Supersonics at the Coliseum in Seattle. Ernie Johnson in Atlanta with the Prudential halftime report, joined by Charles Barkley of the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm not believing my eyes on this halftime score. What's happening with Utah?
Utah's playing a perfect half of basketball. That does two things. Number one, it stops the crowd from getting into the game. And the Seattle Supersonics play on emotion, and it's keeping their emotion in check. So they play the perfect half of basketball.
Utah needing a win. They haven't won a playoff game on the road, and right now they lead by 3 over Seattle. While we've got some time, let's talk about Charles Barkley. Barkley on Barkley here. Your future with Philadelphia. You know, we had Jimmy Lynam in here after Harold Katz had met with him, and he said, you know, if it happens, we might deal Charles Barkley. What do you think your future is with the Sixers?
Well, I don't think that'll be the worst thing in the world. I think, obviously, we're in a bad situation. Our team is not that good. If they can get better by trading me, that'd be fine. If I would like to stay there, but there's no way we can do the same thing we did this year because we had a bad team, and that's not fair to the fans. And I want them to do what's best for them and best for me. I just want to win.
Well, yeah. What's driving you? I mean, is it still the championship desire, or where does that fit in Charles Barkley's plan?
My number one agenda is to win a championship, but we're not even close, and that's very frustrating. But that's the thing that drives me, and the pride to do your job. You got to be want to do your job well. But the only thing I'm concerned about is trying to win a championship, and whether it's in Philadelphia, which where I would like to finish my career, or another city, I just want to win.
How about Charles Barkley, the person, the image that a lot of the people out there, the basketball fans have? Would you change anything about yourself when you're going to be 30 years old in February? Would you say it's time to mellow, it's time to change, or could you be Charles Barkley acting differently?
Well, I don't think so. I think, number one, you can't worry about what people think about you, because I got a thing I call the 50% syndrome. 50% of the people in the world are going to like you, and 50% of the people are going to dislike you, no matter how you are. I try to bring out and talk about a lot of important things like racism and things like that, and it offends people. But I don't sit around and worry about what people think about me, because I know who I am, and I think God knows who I am. And there are a few people out there who love me in a way.
How about this now? Say planets collide one day, and suddenly you're the commissioner of the NBA, and David Stern's at home going, no. What would you do on your things-to-do list if Charles Barkley is the commish?
Well, I've always felt like we should have mandatory drug testing. I think all jobs should have mandatory drug testing, because you can't be successful at your job if you're using drugs. And probably the second thing I would do is I would take the game of basketball back to the inner city. Basketball has become a high-profile, uppity type sport, and I think we need to take the game back to where it started, back in the inner city, in the ghetto. I mean, because that's how the game originated, and that's who it should be for.
The thoughts of Charles Barkley here in our Atlanta studio on a doubleheader Tuesday night. We'll be back in a minute to take a look at the Bulls and Knicks Game 5 after this. So the Bulls 1 win away from the conference finals. Now, earlier tonight, Charles Barkley said here that he kind of liked Portland Trailblazers if it came down to Portland and Chicago. And you knew that word of that would get back to somebody. Bob Neal mentioned it to Michael Jordan. Here's the result.
At halftime in our studio tonight our guest was Charles Barkley. You can imagine that. Charles said he picks Portland to win the championship this year.
I know Charles is trying to drive me crazy. He's trying to make me competitive, and I appreciate that, Charles. What a great friend.
Any response to Michael?
I love Michael like a brother. I love Karl Malone like a brother. And those guys, Michael's got one. My goal would be to see Karl get one, but I think Portland has learned from their past mistakes.
Charles Barkley, it's been a pleasure having you with us tonight. It really has been. Continued success, wherever that may be next season.
I haven't had any success. I need success.
No, you've had success. Maybe you'll get that championship, too. Charles Barkley, our guest here in the studio on a doubleheader Tuesday night. We're going to cap our Tuesday night with Inside the NBA.